topic that every brand and entrepreneur needs to hear: how bold, build visibility without spending a cent on ads, grow authentically through organic marketing, storytelling, connection driven strategies. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Beyond 9 to 5 stories that shape us. I'm Rohit Jaiswal. Today we are diving into a topic that every brand and entrepreneur needs to hear: how bold, build visibility without spending a cent on ads. Joining me somewhere is today Adrienne, a visibility strategist podcast who hosts help brands, speakers, small business grow authentically through organic marketing, storytelling, connection driven strategies. In this episode, we'll explore what blood bold visibility really means, how to stand outline without blending in the proven ways to attract opportunities through genuine and brand presence. Edwin, it is such a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. Let's talk
Great.
bold visibility. I love it.
Yeah, the topic: building bold visibility, how to make your brand shine without paid ads. The first question: you are known for helping brands and small business build bold visibility without relying on ads. Can you share what sparked your journey into this niche? What bold visibility really means to you?
So, this is so funny because it actually started for me
Mhm.
through promotional products, logo
Wow.
merchandise. I really was able to help businesses like shine. Before we had algorithms and social media trends, I started in the very early 80s in the promo industry. Started before social media was thought. So I was selling the idea of logo merchandise, promoting my customers' brand, giving them visibility. When a politician walks around and knocks on doors and hands out whatever it may be, a jar opener, that is promoting their visibility. So I've been doing it for a long time, and I saw firsthand how sometimes the right product, that if it
Right.
was thoughtful and it was well branded, how it can make a company, it could start conversations, and also how promo products could build loyalty. So the answer is, from there I realized that visibility isn't just about the stuff you hand out, right? It's
Yes,
about how
yes.
you show up.
That's correct. Certainly. And you rightly mentioned that promotional products, somebody said rightly, promotional product works. You need to know how it works. It really works.
First of all, you have to be bold when you're purchasing promotional products, making sure that you're making the right decision and the right
Right.
products, because this
Right.
day and age, you could be
Right.
canceled if you do something wrong. But to me, bold visibility means showing up with confidence, being
Right.
consistent, and then finding creative ways to connect with people. And that's exactly what promotional products does.
Well, I am in the promotion product industry, serving the industry from 14 years, doing the artwork graphics for them, and I've been doing it for US, UK, Australia. Like we having a production center in India, and we work like 24/7, and we are loving the promotional product trend, which is very high in the USA. It's a trend, it's a culture of America that to gift somebody. Yes, and is what I've realized. UK, Australia are still little down compared to the US, where they treat this as a gesture, as something very important to anybody. The second question: many businesses struggle to stand out online. What are the most common mistakes you see brands making when trying to increase their visibility on LinkedIn or other platforms?
Oh, definitely. First of all, I think that there's definitely platforms that you should not be on. And
Right,
for some suppliers, and for a lot of suppliers, it may not be the right place. They may have a group, which makes sense, on Facebook or Instagram. I don't know how great that works for marketing, but I could tell you what I know is LinkedIn. And I think that many people, some of the mistakes are that people treat it like it's a big billboard. They post once, they promote themselves, and then they disappear.
right,
Sadly enough, too, many in the promo industry show zero lack of creativity when it comes to their like LinkedIn. But that's the first time, that's the first place people will see you sometimes. if you were to call someone up and say, hey, I want to talk to you about ordering promotional products next year, let's sit down and meet. And they go to as a
Right.
social media, they go to your LinkedIn to talk about, you just said that you want to talk about creative ways to sell promotional products or whatever it
True.
may be. And
Mm-hmm.
then they look and they're like, wait a second, your LinkedIn looks like there's nothing to it, like you haven't put thought to it. I'm thinking, how creative are you? So it's not a one-way street. It's also with LinkedIn. Another big mistake is that it's about engaging, it's about
Engage.
commenting, it's about
Yes.
being part of the conversation, going where the conversation flows is
I
really.
agree.
And another big mistake is right now it's sounding too polished or too corporate. They have a new program called the Brew 360, BREW, and
Right.
that is really highlighting like authentic conversation. So I saw it the other day. I wrote an article about calling in sick and I did a video with it, and I really wrote it with my tone and how I felt and put a lot of thought to it. And yeah,
Right.
immediately it's getting a lot of views because of the fact that I didn't just like plop something out there. Also, to be careful, don't have everything sound like a press release.
Right.
People will scroll right past you. So, my advice is be human, be real, show your personality because people want to connect with you. They don't want to necessarily connect with your sales pitch.
Right. I understand. And rightly you mentioned you should know what you're doing. When you said about common mistakes, you should know what are your common mistakes and do not do it again.
It's easy enough to go to ChatGPT and say, what's a good headline for me? Actually, I
Right.
recommend everyone ask ChatGPT to interview you,
Mm-hmm.
learn about you, and spend a couple days, let it ask you questions, and then it'll make things flow a little better. And then
Right.
ask it to write you an about section, a headline, all of that, because show some creativity. Even, that's how I look at it.
Now, same. I also use ChatGPT when I get stuck. I mean, I also look at trends and news from ChatGPT. AI is a help to mankind, is a boom to mankind. We should use it for ourselves in a better way. Rightly, you bought AI also. Listeners who are listening to this podcast today would know many things. The third question, you often talk about organic lead generation, relationship-based marketing. What are the some proven strategies that have worked for your clients or even for your own personal brand?
I love that question. So, first of all, once your
Thank you.
LinkedIn is optimized, once
Right.
it's all ready, what I do is I use a program and it works really great with distributors and it works great with suppliers in the industry.
Right.
And it would be great for you too. Is I use a program called Octopus and I run it 30 minutes a day very strategically and I run it to the exact people that you're looking for. So I don't say to you, do you want 100 leads a day? Nobody wants 100 leads a day unless you have a
Of course.
team and you have a process, right? Like that's crazy. I do about 21 a day. And then my messages are crafted carefully. They're not like pitchy. They're not making promises. They're starting
Right.
a relationship, and my clients are getting responses. I also make sure that I don't waste connections. Like I'm not sending a connection regarding cannabis to a spa, right? Like, or
Right.
whatever when it makes sense. So, and I like to teach this. I don't necessarily need to do the work. If someone wants to teach me, I'll show you my process. I have no idea. I'm very fair in my pricing and I'll walk you through and do it yourself. It's 30 minutes a day. If I want to tell podcast hosts that we
Right.
have Pod to Book and that we
Right.
can turn your podcast into a book very easily,
Wow.
I go on and I send messages to podcast hosts on
Wow.
LinkedIn. But again, I use a human eye. I double check everything. So it's really human centric, the program I offer.
Wow. Such a beautiful thing. Yeah. Any writer, any book writer listening to this podcast today would certainly get in touch with you, Adrienne, for making it to the next level. How you turning a book into a podcast and making it promote. And in a way, it's a good for the writer that nobody was aware. And with you, our podcast, he will be aware. The fourth
It's a
question.
podcast to a book, though. You said a
Yeah.
book to a podcast, which people could do. You could take your book and create a podcast. That's smart. Or you could take your podcast and create it as a book. I have a book coming out, and it's AI. So it's an
Wow.
AI debate
Whoa. Wow.
on corporate etiquette, on etiquette. Because when you think about it, there's so many questions. If I met you, how do I hand you a business card? Do you like all that interaction? So I have 20 episodes right now. I'm going to
Beautiful.
pick my top 15 and my AI driven, solution based podcast for the
Wow.
etiquette industry will be a book in about by January.
The fourth question, as a podcast host and producer yourself, you understand the power of storytelling. How can small business use podcast or thought leadership content to evaluate their brand presence and credibility?
So podcasts are now one of my favorite topics. It's so funny. It was
Yeah,
four and a
yeah,
half years ago when I started with Market Domination, Seth Green, who I am a big fan of. He has the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington, one of my favorites. Podcast is one of the most powerful tools for building credibility and connection. It's
right.
really, maybe it's the most powerful tool for building credibility and connection because whether you're hosting or being a guest like I am,
Yeah,
we're both giving people a chance to hear us, right? Hopefully they can hear my and feel my energy, which at 8 a.m. is
and
I had just got my
hi.
call. So I am excited. That's why. But that's very powerful. So
Yeah,
before you even can open your voice, you're showing up. You're
yeah,
showing up, and
yeah,
maybe it's even the energy that comes before you
yeah.
start talking. And
True.
here's the other thing. You don't need a massive audience with podcasts. You just need a clear message and a
Right.
story that people can relate to. It's about
Exactly.
showing up consistently, sharing real insights, and then speaking from the experience you build and you trust. And then
Yes.
trust turns into business. And I've
Business.
always believed that now at my young age, I have a lot of wisdom built up after being 40 years in the promotional products industry. 8 years with SCORE here in the United
Wow.
States. There's a lot I've done. So I can share that now with my voice
Right.
and then I turned my podcast into and
A book.
also blog and articles and all of that. So it's a constant sharing of your voice that you can do. I
Super,
love it.
exactly. It's a great fourth question was that about the podcast. Again, you can turn your things. I mean, the book have you written and you're doing a podcast, you're reselling it. It's so such a nice thing that you're trying to bring it to the audience and making it a larger than life. The fifth question for brands in the promotional products or marketing space looking in to grow 2025 and beyond. What's one mindset shift or practical action step you recommend that they start implementing today to make their brand shine?
So I'm going to talk to the promotional products and the marketing people because I
Right,
have a piece of advice, and it's stop thinking of promotional products and your marketing as you're selling stuff
right.
and start thinking of it as you're telling your story. And think of it this way: every product, every touch point is an opportunity to create an experience. So
Right.
even if someone said, "Oh, I want key rings," there's still all these touch points with the key rings. So shift your mindset from what
Yes.
can I sell you
Yes.
to how can I help you shine? That's what I do. And then I connect the meaning to what you offer because people don't remember a brand. They really do feel it. That's a lot of terminology, but that's really true when people say it. And
True.
that is going to be how you stand out in 2025 and beyond.
Right.
Being thoughtful, being smart in how you appear and being authentic in yourself. That's what people want more than anything.
True. And it was, Adrienne, this is such a powerful conversation. Thank you for sharing your insight, how brands can show up more authentically, connect meaningfully, and grow organically in today's noisy digital world. To our listeners who are inspired to rethink our marketing approach and start building visibility without paid ads, make sure they follow Adrienne and check out on her amazing work. Thank you so much for tuning up into Beyond the 9 to 5, the stories that shape us. Don't forget to subscribe and review this episode. And someone who's ready to make their brand shine, do share the link with them. Until next time, keep showing up boldly, keep creating, keep shaping up your story. Yes, yes.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care. Bye.